Welcome to Relacode, the channel where we discuss immigration and non-immigration visas. Today, let's compare three types of visas that are somewhat similar overall, some meeting 80 criteria. Which one is better if you want to come temporarily to the USA and then change your status, or if you want to come to the USA permanently? Join us as we explore the best visa options for your needs. Today I'm going to compare three categories of visas: EB1, immigration visa, L1, non-immigration visa, and O-1, also a non-immigration visa, but issued for a different period of time. I will provide an overview of each visa and inform you about the categories within these visas. What is your immigration and tax status for these visas, and how do you even figure it out? Because many of them are generally similar in terms of their content and criteria. Let's say IB1 and UDIN, they match on 8 out of 10 criteria. And how to choose depending on your needs. Let's begin with general info about each of them. IBI1 is a green card, an immigration visa issued for a 10-year period. After 5 years of living under this category, you can apply to change your status to citizenship, so it's already permanent residency. With permanent residency, tax residency follows. I'll explain shortly. She's given to individuals from diverse regions. Business, art, information technology, specialists, professionals with an academic background, and so on, with exceptional skills. If you can prove that you have an award, you have recognition. Global, national, and so on within the country. Under recognition here, basically anything is acceptable. These are a few roles in companies that are highly recognized, or some crucial roles with high salary, publications, and so forth. If we're talking about the O-1, it's basically similar to the H-1B, the difference being that it's non-immigrant, meaning it's a short-term visa with a duration of 1 to 3 years. After that period, you can either extend or switch to another status. So this visa is called dual intent, which means that you can switch to an immigration category like EB1 from it. It is issued to specialists from different fields. Here, in principle, the profile is wider, because it is issued to those who work in IT, business, technology, art, creative industries, and is also issued, for example, to film directors, producers, and any other people who work in film production. L1 visa, it's quite different, like really different, I would even say, from the previous two categories. She's not an immigration visa either, usually issued for a period of up to 1 year, and implies that you come to the USA to open either a subsidiary of the company you work for or a subsidiary of the company you founded outside the United States. The requirements for an L1 visa are probably the most minimal. The main requirement is for you to work for an employer who sends you to the USA or your own company within a year, in the period of the previous 3 years. Now, let's have a conversation about subcategories. The IP1 visa encompasses subcategories A, B, and C. Category A without employer, B, C categories respectively, requiring employer in the United States. The O-1 visa has categories A and B. A is for those who apply for business, industry, technology, and so on, while B is for those who apply for film production. L1 has the same thing. In general, A, general national managers who come to open a company. B, accordingly, those specialists who have specialized knowledge and expertise in their respective fields of expertise within their own company, and come to the United States to somehow already implement this knowledge on American soil. Let's have a conversation about the pros. Each of these visas, in case they start with B1, has the added benefit that all family members who come along with you on this visa will receive the exact same status. Immigration green card, children who are under 21 years old and not married can also move to a new country using this visa. When discussing the O-1, the advantage is that the visa is in fact a dual intent visa. And after a long period of living in the USA on an O-1 visa, is it possible to switch, let's say, to another status that is immigration related? L1 visa, if you go back to it, the plus is that despite the fact that it is not an immigration visa, you can bring family members and they will have the right to work. So, it's a working card, a working visa that gives you and your family members the right to work. Let's discuss the timeline for review. If we're discussing the IB1 visa, the standard processing time is about 6-8 months. For premium consideration, you'll need to pay an extra $5K, taking 15 calendar days. In such a time, they consider you, decide on the case, or send it out before the request. If referring to the O-1 visa, it's likely the fastest of the three. This is a typical 4-month review period and 15 calendar days for premium review. If we're talking about the L-1 visa, then the standard processing time is up to 6 months. Premium reviews usually take around 15-30 days. Let's now talk about the chances of success, the approval rate, and how possible it is to obtain these visas depending on your profile. If we're talking about the official approval rate, for B1 visas in 2023, the approval rate was 87%, which is pretty high overall for immigration visas, especially for EB1 visas. That's a really high percentage. Everything is going well with the O1, according to official stats, and again, this isn't our stats. 95% for 2023 went through this category of non-immigrant visas. If we're talking about the L1 visa, it's a little lower than the O1, currently at 83%, which means it's lower than the immigration EB1. In general, the entry threshold is typically the highest, which is IB1. However, based on the approval rate, we can see that IB1 is more frequently approved than the non-immigrant L1 visa. That's why we always say that many specialists underestimate themselves when they don't want to give in to IB1 and instead go first to O1, where there are more chances. However, this is a logistical complication and an additional process that will ultimately lead to a switch to the USA and a different status, which is guaranteed without a doubt. Finally, it's worth mentioning that when choosing your status, because they differ in that EB1 is an immigration status, while O1 and L1 are non-immigration statuses, and accordingly, your tax status also differs. When you receive your green card in hand or upon your first entry into the United States, you become a tax resident. You will be required to declare all of your income from every country across the globe in the United States, irrespective of the origin of those earnings. You will also be required to report all the accounts you have outside of the United States in foreign banks. With the O1 visa and the L1 visa, you don't automatically get an immigration status, respectively. And you don't become a tax resident automatically. When it comes to tax residency, it's the same as in any country, 183 days a year. After that, you automatically get assigned the status of a tax resident. If you ain't been in the good old USA for that long on your O1 or L1 visas, then it's time to start looking at that substantial presence test. There is this examination in the tax code of the United States that examines your existence during the previous 3 years and tallies the quantity of days you were present. If the total is 183 days, there's a gradation, meaning one day is counted as 1/3 and so on. It's a complex system. So, in general, you can become a tax resident even if you're absent for 12 months, those 183 days. That is the reason why we always suggest consulting with professionals, consulting with tax consultants. We have a large number of videos on our channel with tax consultants discussing these systems. You can join them, they'll give you details. Overall, here's a summary of these 3 vehicles. In my opinion, we have reached the maximum criteria that are crucially important for individuals who apply for these visas, and it is of utmost significance. If we still haven't covered any criteria and you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or message us directly. We'll arrange a consultation with you to determine the visa type that suits you. That's all from me. Thank you and have a great day.